This is Tony Hendrick with Painting Spirit, and today the subject I'm going to talk about is sincerity. And I really felt strongly about talking about this. I love the word, and I realized it just seemed to be, usually when I'm going to do these, I get a general sense of what I'm going to talk about ahead of time. And I just wasn't getting anything, any direction of how to talk about sincerity, except that it's one of my favorite words. And I realized I didn't really know the definition, so I decided to look it up, and it really didn't have a definition. And what I mean by that is the only definition it gave is what it's not. And so the definition that I read was the quality of being free from pretense, deceit, or hypocrisy. And that's really just talking about what it's not. I guess you could say it's the quality of being free. So my guess is that sincerity is something that goes beyond a definition. It's something that is felt, not necessarily talked about. We're kind of in a time of fact-checking, and I don't think sincerity is about finding the facts. I said I was going to go with just my palette of yellows and reds and black. So I'm going to see if I can do that again today. I was actually going to paint from a photo, and as I was messing around with it this morning, I just couldn't get it to work for some reason. So I guess that's why I'm painting just like I am right now, or just making something up as I go along with this talk about spirit. Let's just see what happens. So a thought that I had was maybe I could talk about school. This seems to me that sincerity is really not something that's taught in school. And so I'll give a few examples. In 6th grade, I have this distinct memory of this time when I really committed myself to doing good on my spelling test. It's not something that really comes natural to me, spelling. And I'm not sure if the teacher had some sort of a reward if you got 100% on your spelling test or something like that. But I really committed myself. I'm going to get every single word this time right. And so I studied and made sure I had every word memorized. And I got my test back, and it wasn't 100%. And I knew that I got every word right. I went and asked the teacher, "What's up?" And she pointed out that I had not crossed my T in one of my words. And so that was kind of a blow to me. Like, she couldn't see that I had spelled all the words right. She was focused on this, not getting the T crossed. And, as a child, sincerity is just something natural. It's being who you are. Really, I guess that's without pretense. And another example in school that I have that's a big memory is this was in 9th grade. I think we were supposed to do a book report and give a presentation in front of the class about the book that we read. Well, I wasn't too interested in the book. Didn't do the homework fully or completely. So when it came time for me to give my presentation, I just got up and gave what I had and figured, well, I guess I get another F on this or whatever. And to my surprise, the teacher kind of gave a little speech to the rest of the students using me as an example. And she gave me a really good grade of someone who in her mind gave an effort even if they didn't have all the stuff ready for the presentation. I got up and did it anyway. And to me, it felt like, well, this is a surprise, but it felt kind of like not genuine to me because I knew that, I just didn't have the interest in doing the project. So I knew I just got up and did it because I didn't know what else to do. So that didn't really feel like sincerity to me either. So another memory I have is, this is probably in 10th grade. I'm not sure where I'm going with this painting. Let's see here. Let's kind of, not sure. It's just feeling kind of, I'll just keep exploring. So, in my 10th grade literature class, we were given the assignment to memorize a poem. She gave a list of poems we could choose from, and the one that stood out to me was a Walt Whitman poem, Leaves of Grass. It was really long, but I liked it. And so I didn't really care about any of the other poems, shorter poems that were, rhymes and such. This poem by Walt Whitman didn't depend on rhymes and things like that. It just had more meaning to me, and I just liked it. And so I said, okay, well, that's the one I'm going to pick. And at the end of it, the teacher used me as an example again, because I picked the most difficult poem to memorize. So for me, it wasn't really about picking the most difficult poem. It was just one I liked. To me, that felt like sincerity. So what does all this have to do with art? Painting? not sure I know how to describe it, but there's something there that when I look at a work of art, I like to talk about looking for the life inside of a painting. And really, to me, maybe even more accurate would be looking for the sincerity, because that's where the life lies. So yesterday I was pointing out how just using these three colors you can get the greens. And this little thing here started to look blue to me. That kind of looks blue. Well, disappeared. The blue seems to be a little hit or miss doing this, using just three colors. Let's do something here. Well, I'm going to have to play with this whole limiting my palette. Seems more of a challenge to me. Maybe I'll be ready to do this from a landscape. So I didn't have a whole lot to say about sincerity. It's just it's one of those things that's gotten lost, I think. But it's something I think we really hunger for, and that's why we're doing the stuff we're doing, the fact checking and looking at our politicians and all that kind of stuff. There was a time before emails and text messaging where letters were written and you would sign it by saying, "Sincerely yours." I just like that word, sincerity. I think it's what we're all really looking for, is to be ourselves, to be sincere. We tend to look for it in others, but the only way we're going to ever really find it in others if we find it in ourselves. And that can be kind of a process, getting back to that sincerity as a child. We all recognize it in the child. Well, this is kind of nice. I like that pink going on here. Oh yeah. All right. I think that does it for today. I will do one more. Well, maybe I'll do one on Christmas Eve. Let's see how I feel about that tomorrow, but go ahead and get your brushes out. Feel the sincerity. It doesn't come from the mind, it comes from the heart. And it's there. It's there all the time. Play with it. And we'll see you tomorrow.